Hold on.
Okay, now let's do that again then.
Okay. Mayor Rilling,
Here.
Mr. Abrams,
Here.
Mr. Camacho, Mr. Frere,
Here.
Mr. Jelleret,
Here.
Mr. Casimis.
Here.
We have 5 attendees who have a quorum.
Thank you very much. First item on the agenda, I'll serve as chair in the absence of Mr. Camacho. First item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes of December 5th, 2022 regular meeting. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Abrams. Do we have any corrections, deletions, or omissions?
I just have one real quick. On the page 1 there, Ed Abrams, it should be, I think it has Al Abrams or something on the first line, right, Ed?
Yeah, it is. It is usually it.
Okay.
That's all from me.
Any other corrections, deletions, or omissions? Seeing none, all in favor of approving the minutes as corrected?
Aye.
Aye.
I will abstain.
Abstentions from Mr. Frere. Any objection or any opposition? Okay. Okay, next under special appropriations, I see we have none. Transfer agenda, we have none. And other business, page 6, Mr. Dakowitz.
I've got it, Mayor.
Okay, Mr. Ellis.
Yes, number 1, the first issue is in the tax collector's office. And Lisa B is here to discuss the request for an extended due date on supplemental vehicle billing.
Yeah, Ms. Biazzarelli,
Good evening. Can you hear me?
we can.
Yes, we can.
Okay. I wish I could share my screen with you because I had sent prior to the meeting to Attorney Camacho the narrative and the monthly report that covered some of this for the month of December. So I'll give you the good news first and then the bad news. Our collection rate for the month of December is comparable to where it was last year, and clearly wasn't affected at all by the fact that our regular billing went out about 2.5 weeks later than we would have liked. We went through a software upgrade, the collector's office and the assessor's office, in October of 2022. And that upgrade had some issues with it that impacted my ability to get the bills out when I wanted to get them out. Normally, at this time of year, we also bill what is called the motor vehicle supplemental grand list, which is a prorated billing for vehicles that come onto the grand list subsequent to the grand list date of October 1st. So if you register a car, first time registration, not a renewal, but a first time registration on October 2nd, between October 2nd and the 31st of July of the following year, you don't get a bill that July, you get a bill the following December or January from us. And it's prorated for the number of months you were driving that vehicle. And if you took the plate from one car that you used to have and put it on a newer car, you also get a credit for that extra that you pay on the original bill. So it sounds a little bit complicated, but we've been doing it in Connecticut for probably about 30 years. Normally those bills go out at the same time we bill the second installment of everything else that we taxed the first installment in June. We still do not have those motor vehicle supplemental bills on our system. And I made the decision to pull the plug on waiting back around the second week of December when I realized we were getting nowhere. And we made the decision to proceed with the rest of the billing so as not to hold everything else up. So it could be worse. I could be in front of you asking you for a delay on the entire billing, and we're not. We're asking only for an extension on the motor vehicle supplemental, which is approximately 15,000 items, 15,000 bills. I can't even give you a dollar amount for what it is because I don't know yet. I'm working with the Office of the Assessor on this, and there were a number of factors that went into why we're here, but we're here. So according to Connecticut General Statute 12-142, when a municipality is facing a delay in a mailing, we can appeal to the rate maker, which is yourselves, to allow us to offer an extended due date and an extended grace period. So what I am asking for, in light of the fact that it is now January 9th and we're not really where we need to be even now. I'm asking, instead of the due date being January 1st, payable by February 1st, I would like to make the due date March 1st, payable by April 1st. This gives us plenty of time to get this right. We thought originally we would say February into March, but we're already halfway through February and we've got a holiday next week, and I just don't think we can do it. So that's where we're at. And I'm also going to go before the Finance and Claims Committee of the Common Council on Thursday and explain the situation to them. It's going to be, if you approve it, it's going to be an entirely separate mailing. It'll look different than our regular bill, but it will clearly state to the taxpayers that they have until whatever the extension you give us. If you give us April 1st, that's what it will say. And for the next 15 years, we will have an adjustment to our interest on those particular bills.
I think you meant we were halfway through January and not February.
That's what I meant. I apologize. Yes, thank you,
That's-
Mayor.
That's okay. And I think that the taxpayers would be very happy to be having a little bit of an extended time. Do we have any questions from Ms. Biaggiarelli? Or for Ms. Biaggiarelli?
Just one question.
Mr.
Is the
Kasimis.
upgrade complete on the software?
Let me,
The upgrade, well, Henry, did you want to speak?
yeah, I would talk. Yeah, you have to understand, this was not an upgrade just of the software that the tax collector and the tax assessor use. Munis is our ERP system. So people have compared ERP systems to central nervous systems. They run our accounting books. They go through every department. They're used for all of our accounting, all of our budgeting, in addition to tax work. We upgraded because we were on a version and Munis said we're not going to support it anymore. We planned the conversion a year in advance. We had to schedule our time because we're far from the only city using Munis. And we did the upgrade in October. However, the tax module is one that out of 169 towns in Connecticut, we are the only one that uses Munis for the tax module. We have planned to go to a company called QDS, Quality Data Systems, for the tax work, tax collection and tax assessment. And at one point, we thought we could convert to QDS so that the collector and assessor did not have to go to the new system on Munis. We couldn't do that because of delays in the program with QDS conversion. So what we decided to do, we upgraded the whole city in addition to the collector and assessor. And there were problems in other areas such as controller, but very, very minor compared to the problems we had in the assessor and collector areas. In other areas, when we point out a problem, they have dozens, if not hundreds of other clients who would benefit from a change. We're the only ones in Connecticut, so when we point out some problem, it's not always the highest priority. So Lisa's done yeoman work to get out the regular bills by December 31st. We are in the middle of a conversion to QDS, which we expect to complete in March. But the problem with the motor vehicle was twofold. Part of it was the Munis upgrade and part of it was information coming from the state. So I think that's where we are now. The Munis upgrade, we're still working with them to correct whatever open items there are. But anybody who's done an upgrade or put in a computer system knows it's like a house. You get a punch list and you start working down until you're on the smaller items. So we are pretty close, but we're not there yet. And on QDS, just the opposite. We've had 9 months to start working with them. So we're well underway in getting that ready for testing and trial so that we'll have a smooth March installation. So that's the story. Did that answer you, Artie?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any
I would,
fur-
I would add
Mr.
to that, it's not complete yet. There are still very major issues that I'm having and that are impacting my collection. And the environment that we're in right now, as you can see, I can't collect and I can't bill. And it doesn't get any worse than that.
Mr. Abrams,
Yeah, Lisa, forgive me if I should know this or if it's an irrelevant question. If we push the payment due date to April 1, what do you historically see as late payments? And is there any meaningful impact to the fiscal year budget if we get payments later than the close of the fiscal year?
Well, the thing about the motor vehicle supplement is it's the smallest component of our levy.
Okay.
It's probably going to be in the neighborhood of $4 million, between 4 to 6. So it's not going to impact this fiscal year very much at all. And even the fact that the other bills went out as late as they did, the fact that we closed the month of December and didn't really see a drop in our current collection rate, I think is a positive thing. What I didn't mention is the lion's share of our levy is real estate tax. And fortunately, all the real estate files that go to the escrow agents that pay on behalf of residents who have escrow taxes, I sent those out right after Thanksgiving. And a lot of that money has actually already come in December, which is why our December was as robust as it was. So if there were problems with the real estate, I would be worried about the collection rate and things like that. I'm really not. I'm more worried about some of our delinquent activity that we haven't really been able to do because we've been tied up dealing with this upgrade. So other work is suffering because we're answering the phone and we're dealing with, where's my bill? When am I going to get my bill? That kind of stuff. And just trying to process these payments. That's what concerns me long-term going forward. But I'll keep you apprised of it. I'll be seeing you later this spring. When we do the budget workshops and things like that, and I'll be talking with you about collection rate then. But I think it's a valid question, but I don't think you really need to worry that much about that. It'll be all right.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I think that speaks volumes about Norwalk taxpayers when they call and ask where their bill is. The diligence of wanting to pay their taxes.
My neighbor
Thankfully,
was calling.
Thankfully,
My neighbor-
we have a good community. Any
my
further
neighbor-
questions, Mr. Jelleret?
Yeah, my neighbor was looking for his bill. He was calling
Yeah.
me. Disposal passes, Lisa, just make sure there's no issue with that, because I think they run out for the dump on the 3/31, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't know how many people that will affect,
I'll make a note of it.
if they're looking for the pass, you might want to notify the dump people, because I use that.
Any further questions regarding this issue for Ms. Biagirelli? Anything else from Mr. Dakowitz, Mr. Ellis, or Ms. Biagirelli? Okay. So all in favor of granting the extension, please signify.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstentions, motion carries. Thank you. Next is a resolution requesting a special capital appropriation. Ms. Dixon, would you read that?
Resolution requesting a special capital appropriation from the Norwalk Public Schools in the amount of $425,000 for the Silvermine Elementary School Improvement Project.
Thank you. And that involves, Mr. Hodel, you can correct me, that involves the bid for the Silvermine School driveway, which we have been working on for quite some time. It's a dangerous situation. The configuration right now needs to be completely redesigned so that people can come into the parking lot, drop their children off in a safe fashion. And I believe, Mr. Hodel, you can address that issue, but I believe the bids came in higher than the anticipated 1.5 million.
That is correct. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, committee members. For those of you who are not familiar with the Silvermine layout, it's a short way of describing is it's a safety issue. So you have buses and parents dropping off in the same time in the same areas, and there's been many near misses. So in the interest of safety, a few years back, there has been community interest to upgrade the entire premises. Studies were done and a valid plan has been proposed to the community there. It has taken some time. We've had some delays with COVID delays, some design delays, some state approval delays, and the money for this job that the mayor had just mentioned, 1.5 million, was approved in, I think, capital year 2019. With that said, design took place, many changes were made, and the option that is most effective was presented and approved through the city various agencies. Bids came back most recently, and the lowest, most qualified, very well-known company that had worked with us in the past, unfortunately, was over the bid amount. So we have taken a look at that, and we've added some contingencies, and we are looking for an ask of $425,000. Now, what we've done is we've taken a look at the Norwalk Public Schools' current overall capital appropriations, and we've scrubbed it to repurpose funds. Now, in hindsight, we've made some recommendations by where maybe it was a little too much, in that being, there are two line items that we presented, which were referred to district paving, which equates to about half of that requested amount. So in theory, we are really asking for half of that amount, or a little more than half of that amount, to be repurposed within the existing capital funds that have been appropriated to the Board of Ed to make this project happen. I don't think we can go another year without doing this project. We have everything lined up where there will be no activity in the school this summer. Everybody, any programs that might have taken place there have been programmed to another site. So we are anxiously waiting to do this project this summer with a very qualified company called B&W Landscaping that have done great work in the past.
Mr. Dakowitz or Mr. Ellis, anything else to add?
I have a question, Bill. So the bid came in above your authorized and approved amount, correct?
Yes,
How much above the authorized amount did it come in?
it came in at about 244,000 over.
244,000 over, but you're asking for 425. Wasn't there a contingency already built in when you had
There
your
is
authorization?
There is a contingency built in, but we had to add more for it because of costing for additional items and items that might come up, such as on the premise, there is a septic system. While it's not part of the project, it traverses through, and there could be some unanticipated work done in that aspect. So to answer your question, yes, there has been, although we needed to increase that.
So, okay, that's the cost side. On the funding side, I was under the impression there were going to be closed out projects or whatever that paid for this fully. Is that not the case?
closeout project well, what we are doing is we're repurposing funds within the capital, if I
Right, but you're
understand you correctly.
repurposing $425,000 from other approved projects, correct?
Yes,
Okay, thank you.
So the
I
bottom
see.
line is that it's a break even. I mean, we're not, it's not gonna cost us anymore.
I see Mr. Camacho has joined us and we'll move on, but Mr. Hodel, I'm just now finding out, based on what you just said, that the project will be awarded to BMW Landscaping. Is that Norwalk?
is that a Norwalk company? No, is that? Was your question, is that a Norwalk company? No, no.
Correct. Because
No,
if it was
they-
a Norwalk company, I would have a significant conflict of interest.
Okay, no, B&W, I believe, is, it's almost on the Massachusetts border. I forget what town they're from.
Okay. All right. Well, that is a relief to me. Any other questions or comments?
Yeah, I have just a couple of quick comments. Bill, how many responses did you get on the RFP for this increase? Or this
We
deal?
had
How many-
We had a public walkthrough. We had a lot of interest with about 6 or 7 companies, and we received 2 bids.
Two. And I was just a little concerned on the email, the memo on page 7 from Tom that says, the third paragraph, the lowest responsible bid. I haven't seen that phrase used. What do you mean by responsible?
Well, I guess that's just a different word we use. I mean, we know how they work. They did work for us last summer. If you're familiar with the Merit 7 parking or train stop on Glover Avenue, they're currently doing that. We just use that word responsible since it fit in well based on how we know their work is.
Well, I mean, just because you haven't done work with them or they haven't done work for the city, does that mean you're qualifying them as an irresponsible bidder?
No, they have done some work and I would not call them irresponsible, no. So maybe that's a word that could have been changed in hindsight. But certainly they were the lowest and well qualified. Maybe that's the word I should have used.
Well, I drove around there today, the school, and you're right. I mean, obviously, it's a very, very tight and needs to be done.
It's congested, yes.
Now, this was gone out, Mr. Hodel, as a proposal or a request for proposal or a bid?
Request for, no, it went out as a bid proposal through the city's purchasing department.
And they were not the lowest bidder.
They were,
They were. Okay,
yes, they were.
okay. I think Mr. Abrams, did you have a question?
Yeah, just a quick clarification again. So we are gonna fund this out of existing capital expense, reprioritize to this. This is not requiring additional bonding, additional funding by the city, correct?
That is correct.
Thank you for the clarification.
Any further questions?
Yeah, I had one other question. On the bid that you got, I assume that it was broken down. Where did we go? Or where did they go high on this? Was it materials that were high, engineering? What part of it came in higher than you expected?
Well, it was a lump sum bid. But we do know based in 2019, when we received the 1.5 allocation versus today, crisis and putting the pandemic in the mix, prices have considerably been increased, and I'm sure we're hearing that from various other construction projects as well. Costs for asphalt, costs for fuel, costs for materials, all that was factored in.
Yeah, I would have thought that it would be the asphalt and the fuel that would go along, all oil products if we see cost of fuel going up and so forth. That's what my question was. Okay.
Any further comments or questions? I see Mr. Camacho joined us. Mr. Camacho, you're on mute.
Could I just want to clarify. So Bill,
Yeah, thank you.
absolutely an increase in materials or costs of labor, There was no change in scope or anything of that nature, correct?
Correct.
Thank you.
Mr. Camacho.
Yes, I have a quick question. So all of these items, the district paving and concrete, 150,166, the Kendall Media Center, et cetera, are these projects that are being abandoned, or will these things be presented as projects in the future, and they're just being sort of delayed as opposed to abandoned?
I believe we're shifting the priorities, not shifting the priorities, we're repurposing the funds. So while these projects, such as district paving, there's been considerable amount done. I believe once we move this money or get approval to move this money over, these projects will no longer be present.
And meaning they will no longer be needed, like the paving seems like something that you wouldn't do just for cosmetic purposes. It's either needed or not needed. Is that?
Well, paving, we would shift into this one, and in hindsight, I think before you logged on, maybe that should not have been included here because that could have been repurposed without being part of this meeting. But paving is an ongoing project we do just about every summer. Those funds were getting low. We do plan on continuing that program in other schools, but here that's almost half of the ask.
I guess what Ed might be getting at here is, are we going to see 425,000 additional requests in the budget for this coming year over and above what we think we're going to get?
I don't know if I understand the question. If it's obviously there's going to be a capital request, but it will not be, these projects would not be part of that capital request.
Okay, so basically you're saying that we're not going to see these again.
No, you might see paving because
Okay,
that's an
paving I can
ongoing
understand.
project.
It's-
Yes, but not these.
Paving's got fungible type thing, so it's going to go here, there, it's wherever. But some of these other things, facilities master plan or the energy conservation program, that's going to be gone.
Correct.
Okay,
Curriculum, textbooks and materials. I don't have all that information, but I would suspect that if not next year, sometime in the future, that might come back. That's always a constant.
yeah, that's $4,000, $5,000. That's
Right.
not a big deal, but okay.
Any further comments? Questions? Okay, all in favor of the resolution, please signify by saying aye or raise your hand.
I
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Now, the only other items on the agenda are the informational items regarding Oak Hills and the audit and year-to-date capital budget report. Do we have any comments or questions about that?
Is anyone from Oak Hills on? I don't know.
No, nobody from Oak Hills is on that I can see.
Yeah, I actually received a text from Joe Androsco, who said it looks like you won't be on the BET meeting tonight. One of the members is in Florida, and he was at physical therapy. Joe was in physical therapy when he sent this text to me, and he also indicated that he's not getting the invites in any of that. But for those reasons, no one from Oak Hills will be on the meeting today.
And I could just ask Tom if he could just follow up with them regarding the restaurant, what the update there is, whether they've been making their payments as we talked about the last couple of months.
Okay, there's no other business to come before the committee. However, I would ask Mr. Camacho for an update.
For an update, I was just on the DTC meeting before, or at the same time that this meeting started, which is why I wasn't able to be at this meeting at the beginning. But at that meeting, I was just elected to fill the seat left vacant by Dominique Johnson, who was recently elected to the State House, and so I guess effective, I'm not sure when, but I will become a member of the DTC at large. I'm sorry, of the Common Council at large. And I will, in all likelihood, be handing in my resignation because I don't believe that I can serve on the BET and be a member of the Common Council at the same time. So
That's
That's
correct.
the-
Well, first, congratulations. I expect you will
Congratulations,
be,
Ed.
Good luck.
I expect you will be at the Common Council meeting tomorrow evening as
I
a
guess so.
member. We can administer the oath of office at that time, at the
Okay.
beginning, or you can come by the office tomorrow. But
Okay.
I'm sure that, as including me and others, would want to thank you for your leadership. Thank you for your participation in the BET. You've been a champion for the city budget and asking all appropriate questions and making sure that we safeguard the funds that our taxpayers contribute to the operations of our city. I don't know if anybody else would like to make a comment as well.
I would like to say that it's been an absolute pleasure working with you, Ed. We joined at the same time. And it's been a pleasure working for now going into the 5th year for me. And good luck over there on the Common Council. A few more meetings and
Yeah,
congratulations.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
I think,
Thank you all.
I think you've done a great job, Ed. It's like herding cats sometimes, but I think you have done a phenomenal job. And thanks a lot for your leadership and cutting through some of the.
It didn't take 15
cloud.
rounds. Did it take 15 votes, Ed?
How many votes was it?
No, it took actually just one vote because
Wow.
there were no other nominations. So actually just one ballot. But I want to thank you all for you guys have been wonderful to work with. Henry and Tom and Lisa and the rest of the members of the BET. I want to thank you all for really. It's been more of an education than anything, and I'm happy to have done our part and to help the BET do its part. And so I want to thank you for that experience.
Your
It's our
leadership
pleasure.
will be
We,
missed.
yeah, you'll be missed here at the BET, but we look forward to working with you on the council.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
It's
Mr.
been great
Abrams,
working with you, Ed.
Thank you.
Mr. Abrams, I think you were starting to say something.
I was simply going to say that Ed's leadership will be missed. I've learned a ton from him in my couple years on the board, and I'm going to miss that. But congratulations. It's a great opportunity, and it's something that, is to the advantage of the city. And as a citizen, I'm thrilled with it.
I appreciate that. I hope to measure up somehow.
I think you will.
Any
Just real
further,
quick,
Mr. Kissimis?
I just want to say the same thing. Thank you, Ed. Being on the Board of Ed for many years, you know how to run a meeting very smoothly and not into the wee hours of midnight. So thanks for getting things done quickly and keeping things not political. You always had the best of the city at heart. So thank you for that.
I appreciate that, Arnie. It's been wonderful working with you.
Any further comments or questions, or I'm ready for a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Mr. Frere, a motion to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The time is 7:06 and this is adjourned. And thank you again, Mr. Camacho, for logging into your last meeting.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Congratulations again, Ed.
Thanks, Ed.
All right. Thanks a lot,
Take it
guys.
easy, guys.
Yeah.